Good evening, Source Nation, and welcome to SRN Live Television. I am your host, author Kimberly McLemore, and thank you for tuning in tonight to my show, The Author's Corner. Tonight, we have an amazing show in store for you. But before I go any further, let me thank our sponsors who have made this show possible, and they are Meet My Types Matchmaking and New Covenant of Praise Worship Center. And also, before we actually bring on our special guest tonight, let me just tell you a little bit about who I am and the reason why I decided to have this wonderful show called The Author's Corner. Well, first of all, I am, of course, like I said, an author. I have two books. One is called How to Be a Success by Just Being You. And of course, I have the memoir, Deception of the Heart, A Real Look into Domestic Violence. And I am the CEO and founder of the Women's Small Business Initiative, LLC. I'm also the host of the podcast of Your Resource for Success. I am also the founder and author of Kimberly and McLemore, LLC. And of course, now I am the new host of this awesome show, this radio TV show called The Author's Corner. And let me just kind of give you the background of why I decided to do this. This platform to me is so important. And being a new author, I wanted to provide an opportunity for new authors to have their books promoted, talk about their events, some of their speaking engagements, and of course, how can we get a copy of the book? So let me just tell you a little itty bit about our special guest we have on tonight. I'm telling you guys, you're going to love her. And she is an award-winning author. Her name is Martine Mayas. Martine is a uterine fibroid survivor. She is a speaker and lead writer and author of the newly released Faces of Uterine Fibroids. Without further ado, Source Nation, please help me welcome my special guest, Martine Mayas. Hello, Martine.
Hello, everyone.
So happy to have you on the show tonight. Thank you for coming on to the Author's Corner.
Thank you for having me. It's a very special time for me.
Well,
invited to be on.
Awesome. Well, it's a pleasure to have you on. And before we dive into talking about anything with the book, why don't you just tell Source Nation a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Martine Mayas, and I'm a writer, contributing writer for many different books. However, my signature book is Faces of Uterine Fibroids, which illustrates the 21 years of my life. Basically, I've been ill with the condition of fibroids. And I decided to put the struggle, the agony, the pain out there so that I can give hope, courage, and inspiration to many other women suffering with the condition. Also, other women who may have any type of illnesses that they're dealing with and may be ashamed of. At least they know that they can deal with the situation. I mean, you don't necessarily have to feel condemned because you have a condition. So that's why I put it out there.
Okay. Well, before we kind of talk a little more about the book, explain to the listeners about some of your condition. We don't have to get into full detail because it's obvious that your personal experiences is what brought you into deciding that, hey, we need to have a book about this. We need to share this information. Tell us a little bit more, kind of give us a little bit more of the background, bring us up to today.
Okay, so 21 years ago, basically, I was at a point where life was very, very difficult. You live day to day, you pretty much exist because you just barely do what you can possibly do because you have stomach pains and you have inflammations that you're dealing with. You're dealing with anemia. I was dealing with severe anemia. So you're lethargic. You have shortcomings. Sometimes it could come to a point where it can correlate to maybe a heart problem, palpitations, anxiety. You have many different disorders that come into play when it comes to the condition. So my life was heavy. I lived a heavy life.
Right.
But but I did it. That's the whole point of coming out here and be able to tell my stories because I pressed forward. I pushed through. 21 years later, here I am, sharing and letting people know that you can push through. If you're committed to your wealth and wellness, you can push through, definitely.
Right. So 20 years ago, you were pretty much out of your teens. You were still in your young, 20s, 30s?
Yes, yeah. When I was diagnosed with the fibroids, I was actually 19 years old. So
Okay.
still moving forward, 21 years later, you know, I just went through so many different things. I
Right.
went to doctors consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was diagnosed with the condition. I went from one physician to another, being re-diagnosed every single time, and also being told that I was limited with my options. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I to just really find out exactly what I want to do with myself, because perhaps I needed to take out my uterus, and that was the thing
Right.
that were
Right.
desperate for me. Why don't you just get a hysterectomy?
Right. Because that's usually the first thing
You
that
know,
people say when you start to have problems, and especially with women of color, there's never seems to be an answer for why these things are happening. And being 19, I can't even fathom what your thought process was, that, basically they're telling you at 19 that your life is over with, and here you are, you're trying to make a huge decision that will essentially take over the rest of your life. And, I don't know if you ever heard this myth before about women of color, and this thing of, well, if you lose your uterus, you have nothing.
I heard that
You're not
many
a
times.
woman. You're not considered a woman. So to have those thoughts going on in the back of your mind, and all the things that other people are saying, what really truly pushed you over that edge, besides those things that were, prevalent up front, that made you to say, you know what, that something else has got to be better than this? What really pushed you over that edge?
Well, first and foremost for me is that I'm the only child. I don't have any
Mm.
siblings. And then another factor which is very important to me is that um, I'm the only child of both of my parents. My father passed away when I was a baby, about 3 months old. So I really didn't think that God's next step for me was
Right.
just to remove my uterus. I'm like,
Right.
geez, I have these particular dilemmas that I'm dealing with. I don't think that's part of the script. And that's what stayed with me. I kept
Right.
saying to myself, there's no way in the world that God would pour this onto me like this.
Right.
I just don't think that's part of my script.
I really don't think that's any woman's script. I think when we find out that we have these problems, because I can definitely, resonate to what you're talking about. Unfortunately, I was not able to save my situation. So, and matter of fact, I think even when I found out, I was definitely having problems early on in life, with having the issues, the same things that you were talking about. And then, of course, by the time I hit my 40s, it was pretty much a done deal. So, hearing your story and hearing about the tragedies and things that you went through trying to get to this point. But as you went through the process and the journey of realizing that, okay, I'm going to win this, I'm going to beat this, I'm going to do what I need to do, just talk a little bit about some of the steps that you took to get to this point. And then once you get done that, we'll dive into a little bit more exactly about what the book is about.
So what I did is that my faith is huge. So I really stay connected to my faith. I believe that definitely there will always be a better tomorrow. I just didn't know when that tomorrow would be, but I kept pressing forward. So in the meanwhile, I did my duty to keep myself busy. I did some research. I got on the internet. Google became my friend, where I started researching about fibroids. I started looking to see, how do we cure fibroids naturally? How to
Mm-hmm.
relieve pain for fibroids? How to relieve heavy bleedings. I just kept tapping in all these how-tos related to fibroids, related to uterine fibroids, anything that came up in the searches, and I started reading, and that's how I started educating myself as
Mm-hmm.
to who they really are, uh, how they can turn out to be, how long they can last, how detrimental they can be to your life, if there are any other derivative type of conditions that could come out of the fibroids, what to eat, what not to eat, what triggers the fibroids. So I got a whole bunch of information on behalf of fibroids. It was totally unbelievable. I mean, I encourage anyone to just tap on the internet, whatever condition you have, seriously. If you really want to learn and know how to beat it, how to survive,
Mm-hmm.
how to help yourself, and really give yourself some type of courage, get on Google and just research. So that's what I did. And sure enough, I found a lot of different ways to help alleviate the pain, the agony, also help shrink the fibroids. So I started putting those particular principles into application.
Mm-hmm.
So I started buying some of the herbs. I started taking them. I started juicing, changing my diet, realizing that I had a very heavy diet with dairies, that I shouldn't be having dairies because fibroids are triggered by dairies. You know, the growth is triggered by dairies.
Mm-hmm.
So I started making changes. Sure enough, for me, those changes that I made with all the information that I researched really did work. But with what I was dealing with was so huge. The capacity that I endured with the fibroids was so much that it could not get rid of everything. There was
Wow.
just no way.
Right.
So I got rid of most of them on my own. But unfortunately, the ones that were really giving me the major problem were the ones that were inside of my uterus. Those
Ah,
are the ones that I had to surgically remove. And I
okay.
really didn't have a choice. So
Okay.
that's basically how I came about with everything.
So when with all this research, because we know now, being able to have the Google available consistently and being able to bring up all this type of information, it can be extremely overwhelming. So after you've discovered all this, what did you go back and tell the doctors? I mean, what was their reaction? Because like I said, educating yourself is the key. But sometimes when we over-educate ourselves because we're not doctors, it can be very overwhelming to understand how we get to this point. So what did the doctor say to you when you can walk through the door and said, like, look, I've got all this information. This is what needs to happen.
Well, this is when I started to learn and know exactly that we have the medical physician is there available to us. However, we have many different doctors for many different purposes in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
So to speak, where when I started researching about the fibroids and I kept going back to the doctor, I kept going back to OBGYN, which is an obstetrician or also a gynecologist. Some
Right.
doctors have both titles and some just practice in gynecology or just deliver children, which is obstetrics. But the thing about it is that you have to understand these particular doctors are specialized for that particular purpose, which is the reproductive system. They're not there to really tell you how to manage your life, how to be healthy, how to organically remove certain illnesses in your body. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, that's the reason why you have to, as you do your research, you have to see exactly who can I speak to on a professional tip that can help me find a solution to my problem. And that's when I got more into holistic medicine. And
Okay.
as I got into holistic medicine, then I started meeting other professions in the medical field, like registered dietitians, nutritionists. These are the people that will actually take the time to not only listen to your particular research, but are very interested in what you have to say that you found, because it's those type of things that they will tell you that's going to help you move forward. Just like the registered dietitian helped me portion size, helped me to know exactly that certain foods may not always be eliminated from my diet. However, they need to be cut into certain small portions because my intake cannot be but so much because of my condition.
Wow.
And that was one factor.
Okay.
Another factor is that holistic medicine, you have to understand when you're taking herbs and you're out there messing around with all of this is medicine. Herbs are medicine. They're drugs like any other drug. They just have
Mm-hmm.
a natural drug with no artificial anything whatsoever in there, right?
Right.
But the
Right.
truth of the matter is the dosage is important. You can overdose on natural drugs, on
Gotcha.
natural herbs.
Right.
So you have to go see a holistic practitioner on behalf of that particular matter so that you make sure you're doing the right thing. Because it's the same way you can take a very small portion, it's not effective to you, and you're thinking the process is not working. So to say like the journey for me compensated of a village, a
Mm-hmm.
village of professionals, family and friends. Everybody was stood by my side. Like I had a village of people that I could have referred to especially in the professional tip. Like, even with the medical field by itself, I didn't go to just one OBGYN doctor. I didn't just go to one gynecologist. I went to a series of doctors until I finally reached the one that said, listen, who have you been seeing? You need to have this surgery like immediately, like yesterday. So
Right.
you got to keep pressing forward. You know, research is great. You find the information, you enlighten yourself, you get all the insight, put them into application, but then you need to consult a professional who's going to tell you whether what you're doing is right and wrong for you. Because we all have a composite. We
Exactly.
all have a structure, you know.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, my iron was very low. So I needed iron. Well, now that I'm well, I don't need iron. I'm at a loss of iron.
Mm-hmm.
So that's to tell you that you need to know exactly what's going on with your body. You have to be present, and you have to be close to the people who allow you to know the truth of what's presently going on besides just you. You know, because we make our own assessment, but that doesn't necessarily mean that these assessments are necessarily right or wrong. We just have to get them confirmed. And that's the reason why you go to the doctor. That's the reason why you go to see the professional, because they're the ones who can confirm for you and affirm that what you're doing is correct.
Exactly. Source Nation, if you're just tuning in, I'm telling you, oh my gosh, you have missed a phenomenal part of the show. But you are listening live to the Author's Corner. And remember, I am author Kimberly McLemore, and I have this amazing guest. Martine Mayas has got, oh my gosh, she is talking about something that is so crucial and important to women, and especially, like I said, of women of color. We are known to have fibroid situations more often than others. So I'm going to let you continue telling your story, but let's talk now. Let's kind of dive into the book. I really would like for you to maybe read an excerpt from the book, and then once you do that, kind of tell a little bit of your story. But I also want to know how you got these other women involved into the book.
Okay. So I would like to read this part of the book for you here, which is very near and dear to me. It compensates part of the journey, but to show you exactly the mindset that I was and what allowed me to really continue to press forward. I mean, 21 years is a very long time, but you don't realize the amount of time that goes through, especially when you're going through so much pain and you're trying to find a solution. Like, it goes quickly, to tell you the truth. You know, so I just want to be able to read this for you guys to just raise, you know, anyone up who's possibly going through a traumatic situation with themselves, that, you know what, it's okay, because you will see the light. Trust
That's
me.
right.
Okay, so let me read this.
All right.
After seeing a network of doctors, one physician deliberately told me that I needed to have surgery for the benefit of living. A blood count of 5 was not something that my body could further sustain. So I had two options: either an open myomectomy, which is the removal of uterine fibroids, or a hysterectomy, which is the removal of the uterus, which will prevent the uterine fibroids from returning after surgery. Since I did not have any children, physicians were always afraid to operate on me due to the difficulties of my case. Hence the reason why they never even suggested treatment options with me. I educated myself by simply researching on my condition, trying herbal remedies at my own risk. That is how I survived for 21 years with multiple uterine fibroids on the inside and outside of my uterus, growing like multiple fetuses into my room. The life I lived was heavy because of the load I carried inside of me. Wherever I went, they were always with me during the good times and the bad times. I came to the point where I accepted them and deliberately shared my condition with a few, but that only resulted in them thinking that I was saying that I was crazy. So on a positive note, I own the craziness being labeled on me and my life by others based on my condition with uterine fibroids. I made crazy look so beautiful with great boldness, hope, courage, and inspiration. Although they labeled me, they were always intrigued to learn and know more of me. So I kept pushing with faith. My beliefs that my deliverance was near was all I needed. My complaints and concerns were a dialogue shared between me and my God. That is when I was assured that God was enough. listen to God's calling, and all will come around. This is exactly what happened.
Wow. I'm sitting here trying not to get emotional because I can hear the tone as you were reading, the emotion that was coming from your heart as you're reading that. And, I can really, like I said, really relate and understand what you were going through. But I'm so thankful that you did not have to take the path that I had to take. Because, like you said, being a woman and having the opportunity to bring a blessing into this world and be able to live a normal life, that is something that we all want to be able to do. I was there very fortunate to have that opportunity to bring a beautiful son in this world. And I'm just thankful that you did not have to take the route that, other women have had to take. And, I'm so thankful for you sharing your journey. And I just want to talk a little bit more, show us your book and, tell us more about these ladies, because you are the lead author of this book. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit more about the book. Tell us a little bit about the ladies who helped you write this book.
Okay, so when it finally came to me and God was saying, well, now that I delivered you, please deliver my people. I said, wow, what am I going to do? I mean, I said to myself, the only thing I know how to do well is I can write. Okay. So I said, I definitely have to come out with a book. But mm-hmm. the load of what I was carrying was so huge. Let me tell you, it was so huge. It's like one part of my ear is like, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, we're going to do this, we got this, okay? And another part is like, oh, girl, please, this is so huge. Like, why are you going to do this? You know you can't do this. Come on, can you really do it? It was just like, oh, my goodness. It was so loud on both ears, like tug of war.
Right.
I didn't know what to do. So what got to me was, I remember when after a few days into recovery, I had put out a photo on my Facebook and let people know that this is what has transpired in my life. And let me tell you, the outpour of people that I had was huge. So a lot of women started inboxing me, letting me know, oh, thank you so much for putting out there. That's really courageous. By the way, I went through the same condition. By the way, I had a hysterectomy. By the way, I had an open myomectomy. Like all these messages were coming. And I was just like, get out of here. I had no idea. And these were people that I knew from a long time ago, people I grew up with. I had no idea what they were going through. But because I just was like, you know what, I'm going to get this load off my back. I really don't care anymore. I'm going to put it out there. It's a status. Let it be. And everybody just started coming up. So when I started thinking, I said, you know what? I have an audience right there. I don't need to look further. The few women who actually reached out to me, I can give them an offer and say, listen, I'm coming out with this book. Would you like to participate? It's right. Something new, but at the same time, if you want to pioneer it with me, great. So that's how all these women came about. And I'm glad today that all these women came together. Reason being is because the condition of uterine fibroids is different for every woman.
Right.
Just like you went through hysterectomy, I always tell people it's not a matter of what you went through. The destination is really not the issue. It's how you overcame. Because exactly. A hysterectomy is the solution to somebody else's blessing. Just like the open myomectomy was the solution for me to have my blessing. But at the same time, you just don't know how life pans out for people. I knew that a hysterectomy was not going to work for me.
Right.
It just didn't fit. You understand?
Right.
But for somebody else, it fits and it sticks. And that's fine. Mm-hmm. And there's no problem with that. So I always wanted to be able to, when I come out with this particular story, this book, this collaboration, mm-hmm. that it gives different phases of women, different phases of women's decision making, mm-hmm. and also different phases of women's happiness. Because when you come down to removing what I call demons, these fibroids, you do come to a point where you're definitely relieved. You're definitely at a point where you feel like, wow, I got rid of them. They're gone. I'm safe.
Right.
And then you get into, wow, I want to live life now. I want to be happy. I want to embrace the things that I could not do. I want to be able to just like jump for joy. And all these women in the book do that. They live their life that way,
Mm-hmm.
whatever procedure they went through, but it's working for them. And that's what's most important. And this is the whole point of putting the collaboration together. You got to make decisions based on what will work for you. Find something, because there are many different treatments out there.
Right.
But the thing about it is that we don't necessarily know what the treatments really are. There are options. There are many different options, but you have to know what's going to work for you. If you're looking to bear children, then the possibility of an open myomectomy may be the best for you. If you already have children and you have a hysterectomy, well, it's okay.
Exactly.
And some women choose not to have any children, and that is very much okay.
Right.
And that's fine. But one thing I know about women, and we all share this universally, is that every woman wants to experience every phase of womanhood.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
And having their uterus allows them to do that, because that's the only thing that we have within us that allows us to express our womanhood, embrace it, and really feel and really go through all the different changes.
Yes, I agree.
So, and the thing about it, that with certain hysterectomies, sometimes that phase of womanhood is forced upon a woman's body at an early stage where they're not ready for those changes. So it's not that women with hysterectomies skip a phase of womanhood. You don't. You just go through it a lot earlier.
Exactly. And then you still have the effects after the fact.
Yeah. You still go through your hot flashes. You still go through everything that a woman would actually go through, because you're a woman.
Exactly.
But it just presses upon you a lot earlier than it would naturally go through your body.
Right.
So that's the reason why we put the book out. That's the reason why we have the message. That's the reason why I'm in many different places on a month-to-month basis for the whole year, communicating, allowing women to know, and educating, and just really bringing awareness.
Well, I want to say you are doing a phenomenal job. You are award-winning author, so you should be very proud. I've seen that you just recently got your award. Congratulations to you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome, and continue to do the good work. And before we end up here this evening, like we are pretty much down to the wire, could you tell the Source Nation listeners how they can find your book and how they can get a hold of you if they need to?
Okay, so basically the book can be found on Amazon. It's on Amazon. So it's Faces of Uterine Fibroids, the name of the book, Faces of Uterine Fibroids, right here. Okay. Once you put it on, I come up. You can also search my name, Martine Mayas, on Amazon. I do have my own website, which is joinmartinemayas.com. And on that website, you'll find not only the book for Faces of Uterine Fibroids, but any other knickknacks that promotes the branding for the actual book. You'll also get tidbits on my bio, as well as my journey and all the other events that I'm part of and that I've been part of. So it's just a whole walkthrough when you go to joinmartinemayas.com.
All right. Well, again, I want to say thank you so much for spending your evening with me and telling your story, because it has been a story, and we probably could have talked a whole lot longer. So, because there's so much more, so much more to share about this. Sometimes people look at it as something tragic, but at the end of the day, like you said, we've come through a journey, we've gone through it, and we're here. We're here to share their stories and here to talk about it. And the women who helped you, they're very phenomenal, and I'm so thankful for them as well, for allowing themselves to help you put this book together as well. So like, I'm sure you could have done it yourself, but to hear how everybody goes through the process, we're all different, like you said. So again, thank you for joining me this evening. I really do appreciate your time. I just want to say again, Source Nation, remember, this is award-winning author Martine Mayas, okay? Make sure you get your book. If you have any questions, she's giving you more than enough information about how you can find her. She's definitely on Facebook. She's on all social media platforms. I'm sure you can get the book on Amazon and all the places. But before we leave, I do need to thank my sponsors one more time. That is Zulina Health, Wellness, and Fitness, Meet My Types Matchmaking, Renovations, and then New Covenant of Praise Worship and Center. And again, I also want to say to you that if you are interested to want to come on the Author's Corner, all you need to do is send me a short bio, a book cover, professional pic, and you can send me an email at Kimberly M. McLemore at Gmail. That's KIMBERLY MCLEMORE@gmail.com. And also you can follow me on all the social media platforms, which of course is Facebook. You can follow me at author Kimberly McLemore on Facebook, and I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram. And please make sure you watch tonight. You should be, if you're watching us live, you sure know. If you didn't catch us live, come back to the Women's Small Business Initiative YouTube channel. You can find me there. And of course, you can find us live on Source Nation Live, your YouTube channel as well. But until next time, Source Nation, I'll see you next week. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Get at me for beats, y'all.